Welcome, everyone, to this episode of One Soccer Direct. Mackenzie Barwell, Gareth Wheeler, and Jordan Wilson with you. We've got a couple things to talk about in today's episode, but the first topic, as Gareth gets excited, is the MLS, because they're considering some significant changes to the league's roster rules and salary cap system. Some ideas have been floated around, including raising the salary cap floor and eliminating GAM and TAM. Gareth, in your mind, are these changes necessary to begin with?
A really interesting article produced by The Athletic. I encourage everyone to go read it. Are these changes necessary? Absolutely. The day cannot come soon enough where GAM and TAM are put to bed forever. I think it's embarrassing for significant major sports leagues to have things like GAM and TAM, something that you need to be such an insider to understand, to make it relatable. Most people that watch sports want to just enjoy the game. It needs to be simplistic. It needs to be straightforward. And there needs to be mechanisms within the league to do that, to make the sport and the league relatable to the audience first and foremost. Like, whenever you would see a team trading GAM or TAM for an actual player, it's like, did you throw in some cones and a ball as well? It's embarrassing. So it's time that there's a little bit of an evolution of the way that MLS does things. The reason for these different things, like under 22 initiatives and GAM and all of this stuff, was to safeguard, let's put it this way, the cheaper teams in the league, the teams that don't want to spend above and beyond in order to strike some competitive balance on the field. This is like MLS 4.0 now. And I think this is being pushed forward by the Inter Miamis of the world, where they want to splash some cash. They want to take the project forward and make their team and the league that much more watchable to the masses. This is why they're changing their calendar, which I think is a move that is embedded with an element of risk. So if you want to modernize, this is an absolute must for the league. I'm happy they're doing this. It also comes at the time when the current long-term commissioner is on his way out. So it's a good time for a change in a league with 30 teams. I mean, in order to stay relevant, you need to modernize, you need to evolve. And I think that this would be a proper step for the league, for MLS to take.
It should just be in the position now. If you like a player, if you want to bring them into your club, then you're doing that. This whole TAM, GAM, is it even working, Wheels? Like, that's what I've looked at for the past couple of years. If you really want to go and get a big top player to come to your club, you're going to figure out a way to work. Like, to have this balance, so to speak, it's still an imbalanced league. There's always, for me, when I'm looking at out of the 30 teams, there's like the 5 or the 7 that you're paying attention to. Ironically enough, those 5 or 7 are the one that have big profiles at their club that are run a certain way. I'm like, is TAM and GAM even in the position that people thought it was like 10, 15, 20 years ago, of try to have a balance in the league? There's no balance. Your big dogs are going to wherever they want to go. I also think that the MLS has done so much to make this a global league, attract players. You have one of the best, regardless if you put him as a GOAT or not, in Lionel Messi coming to Inter Miami. He probably wasn't going to go to Columbus or another part. He wants to go to a place where you're living a certain type of culture, you're speaking Spanish, you're living a lush life. That is the draw of having the MLS as well. If you want to get bigger players, Wheels brings up the best point about the fact that they're doing so much to get this as a global sport and attract different people, getting on the European schedule and having the summers off and having a break then in between seasons. GAM and TAM should go right there with it, be gone, right? So that you can just bring in the players that you want and have different players and different profiles coming into this league, not at the end of their career, Mac, but in the prime of it. And if they could do that and start throwing some real dollars at them, it will absolutely happen.
It doesn't even bother me if they want to bring players in at the end of their career, like Casemiro, Robert Lewandowski. I like these signings for the league. It's just going to be part and parcel. They want to come over and have their final chapter written in North America. It's a draw to come to North America to play. So take full advantage of that. I also think having a cap ceiling and a cap floor do make sense. Like, it can still be a salary cap league. You can still have designated players that you can bring in. You can spend above and beyond a salary cap for those teams that want to splash the cash on legitimate star players. I'm fine with that, but I have a ceiling as well. And you can have a big gap between what that floor and ceiling are. Just make sure that a certain standard is being upheld, and then raise the ceiling up so those other teams can dictate their own ambition. I mean, this is how modern leagues are run. And it's good to hear that maybe MLS is letting their stranglehold on some of these rules, which I think are outdated and have held the league back to a certain degree.
Guys, is it Gam and Tam or Tam and Gam? Or Tam Jordan, you're
Gam and Tam?
You're confusing me.
Gam and
Whatever
Gam.
it is, get rid of it. Doesn't
Gam,
matter.
Gam, Gam, Tam. Gam and Tam.
Time for that couple to split. Go their own ways.
Jordan,
Gam,
if
Gam.
this
Gam,
does
Gam.
come into
Gam,
an effect, in your mind, which Canadian clubs will be affected the most and how might they be impacted?
The ones that are broke, the ones that don't want to.
Well, to say it bluntly.
The ones that are stingy. Look, we could go do you could go do the research on the ones in particular that comes to mind that we talk about and document all the time from a Canadian perspective. Obviously, if you're looking at CF Montreal, the clubs that are stingy, the clubs that kind of survive year to year and don't really make any big splash purchases or try to uphold the club and really go out, of course they would suffer. So it would be them, and it would change things. But I'm in the committee of there's 30 teams in the MLS. Like, there's no way that you're gonna get 30 teams that are all aspiring every season when there's no relegation to go out and go and win a championship. Some teams just are cool at picking up points, being 500, like getting some young players throughout the system, competing to some degree. That's where you're at. But I also think if you can kind of open up those pocketbooks a bit, then there's, instead of the 5-7 that I talk about teams, you're looking at maybe 15, right? Like 20. Like, it starts to broaden the pool. And I think to Wheels' point that he made before, that is just kind of what you want to get to in the MLS. This is the attraction. Like, I've been to Europe. Everyone's so fascinated with North American culture, right? Whether it's going to New York, being in LA, what's it like in Texas, being Midwest. Like, that's the draw, right? To live and to be in those places. If you could start bringing in all of that, and players in their prime to come to North America, that's a draw for the MLS, and they know that. Hence why these changes are coming in now.
Yeah, spending cash isn't the only thing that needs to happen to put a winning team on the field. Look at Toronto FC in recent years. They spend a lot of money and continue to do so and continue to struggle. But allow teams to, if teams want to go try to spend to reward their fans, to put a better product on the field, then absolutely let them do that. I will never try to tear down any team that's trying their best, especially within these restricted parameters. The one team, to answer your question, Mac, that's going to be affected by more so than anyone else is CF Montreal. They're the lowest spending team in Major League Soccer, and the proposed salary cap floor is higher than what CF Montreal spends right now. And there's very little evidence to suggest they want to spend anymore. I mean, it's been year after year. It's been a club that's operated in a completely different way. I appreciate what they're trying to do. And I still think that there's room within a 30-team league for teams to focus on development, on a younger profile player, develop the team concept, and potentially make that team a winner. It's just a little bit more difficult to do that, especially when you're spending at the level that CF Montreal is. This is a team, for all the attention that's on the Vancouver Whitecaps, CF Montreal, their future is still very much up in the air. And I understand that there was some positive news surrounding Olympic Stadium and the future of the club there. But interesting, in the statement that CF Montreal released surrounding that, they stressed that professional soccer within the city of Montreal was important. It said nothing about their own future within Major League Soccer. I still think that whether it's the Olympic Stadium or other projects, there's a lot to be solved and figured out. And in the meantime, you have a club that looks a little bit behind everyone else. And within Major League Soccer circles, whether it be the Player Association and others, there's been a prevailing sentiment that the team will be on the move. That doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it's not so much of a secret. It's being talked about in plenty of corners. So does that change the Saputo's thinking on how they may run their club? Does Major League Soccer go a little bit beyond their means about what they want to invest in this league at this time? Or do they turn their attention to other ventures like Bologna and other clubs worldwide where maybe they can make a little bit more of a profit? Because the thing is, with the salary cap floor raising, CF Montreal, will their profits or revenues raise accordingly with spending more money? There's no guarantee, especially with the television deal, what that will look like in the future, and whether the corporate community and stadium ancillaries and ownership will be able to bring them in enough cash in order to make it work. So CF Montreal is the team that this affects more so than anyone else.
Yeah. I can see how these proposed changes might vary with the inner workings of each clubs, but Gareth, in your mind, will this actually have a positive impact on the product in the MLS?
I think so. I hope so, because if you naturally bring in more, better, bigger profile players, there's going to be a knock-on effect. The difficulty with MLS is the size of the league. A 30-team league makes it incredibly difficult to follow, understanding what the strengths of some teams are and the weaknesses of others. That's why traditionally the biggest domestic leagues in the world are 18, 20 teams. The championship goes up to 24. Beyond that, it's very difficult to follow this many teams all the time. Just ask people across Major League Baseball, for example. People follow their own team because you play every day. You kind of know the stats of maybe some of the other star players, but you can't follow along with the league because there's just too much for people to consume. So that's going to be the big challenge for the league. If it continues to expand, how do they organize themselves in order to maximize what they have right now? I do still think there's some real strengths of Major League Soccer, but that's their biggest weakness. Is it strength in numbers, or should it be quality over quantity? That's the prevailing argument for me, and one that is still up for some great debate.
I think the production would be better. And the reason why I say that, I think now it's a little bit of a jigsaw puzzle to create a great team or a well-balanced team. And what I mean by that is you have to get certain stars and fit them into TAM, GAM, DP, and whatever it might be. But if you think about it, you just want to have an efficient, well-balanced team. So if you don't have to have these things in place, then you're just getting proven MLS players. You're not evaluating players every year and being like, okay, well, you're not a TAM-worthy, GAM-worthy player. You're just a great player for our club. And you could just keep them going and keep them there. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm like, it might not be instant, Mac, meaning in the first season or two, but I think the long-term effect, maybe year 3 going into year 5, you're going to see maybe a more well-balanced franchises in terms of the selections and the players that they're bringing. Because that's the biggest problem right now is like, I would always see these headlines as well. Oh, we're selling this player for TAM or GAM. And Wheels knows way more about it than me, but I'm always just smirking because I'm like, well, this is a GAM-worthy type of signing or a TAM-worthy type of player. Like, are they good? Yeah. Do they make your franchise better? Do you see them playing at that club for years to come? Okay, because that's the world of football. And if you're trying to make the MLS, it is like a global league. Everyone's attracted to it, watching it. Players from Europe and other countries want to go and play here. No one understands that, right? If you're a good player and you make the team better, there should be a spot for you, or there should be a case for you that you could continue playing for that club. So I think initially it would make things a lot cleaner and a lot easier and a lot better for these players and clubs.
Jordan, you made a good point. Like the Galaxy had to tear their team apart. And it happens in salary cap leagues after you win, but when they won MLS Cup was 2 years ago, because it was too restrictive that they had to get rid of their team, and they kind of struggled to recapture that magic since. So yeah.
All right.
Only in America. Only
USA.
Well, we'll continue to obviously monitor the decision and its potential impact if these changes do come into effect.